p.m. Ms. Berner, if you would call roll, please.
Yep. Mayor Lowry,
Here.
Councilman Grimm,
I'm here.
Councilwoman Nowakowski,
Here.
Councilman Rodwald,
Here.
Councilman Cobb,
Here.
Councilwoman Eggleston,
Here.
Vice Mayor Cook.
Yeah, I'm here too.
7 members present.
Thank you very much. And tonight's invocation will be by Vice Mayor Cook.
If you will, bow your heads. Our Heavenly Father, please bless this group as we try to do the business to which we have sworn our duties. Please bless our first responders. See what we can do in order to get this coronavirus kicked out of the area. Keep our first responders, our military, everybody safe at that point. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Mayor.
I
Yes.
hate to break it to you, Bill, but there's nothing you can do to get it kicked out of the area, so just give it up.
Got to keep trying.
All right, and moving on to the pledge, and we have Mr. Grimm's grandson that's going to help us out with the flag. We thank you, sir, and you hold that up. All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Dominic.
Thank you, Doug.
All
Appreciate it. All right. And moving down, action on minutes, none, communications, none, city manager's report, none, comments from the members of the public. Mr. Bridge.
We have. It's updating.
Updating.
We have no new messages.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Let's see. Committee reports, none. Resolutions, ordinances, none. Other business. We drop down to the 2021 appropriations discussion. And Mr. City Manager, I will hand it back to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the administrative staff that are with us today, and members of the public. So this is a yearly thing that we do. This year is a little unique. We are doing it via Zoom, but it actually might be a little bit better. We are here, and what we're going to do is shortly here, we're going to hand it over to our finance director, Ms. Colleen Harris, and she's actually going to share her screen. And what that's going to look like for everyone on the viewing end is you're just going to see a big Excel sheet and a picture of whoever is talking. So what that's going to do is give the council and public a chance to see that Excel sheet up close. Any questions you can have, you can email to councilquestions@newcarlisle.net. And anytime that any council member or administrative staff has a question, just go ahead and raise your hand either via Zoom remote or just kind of say, hey, I have a question. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Colleen Harris. She is our finance director. And she's done a fantastic job of getting the audit together for this particular year and also our 2021 appropriations. So without further ado, Ms. Harris, if you'd like to take it from here.
All right, thank you. And let me.
Randy, I think you need to switch the host over to her.
Oh, that would be a huge thing to do. Thank you, Casey. Coming your way, Ms. Harris.
All righty.
And again, if council has questions, because it'll drop us down to one person on everybody's screen. So just maybe, just a little mention if you guys need something.
Yeah, I won't be able to see you. So I'm going to start sharing a screen and then we'll see if you, everybody can see this.
Got it.
Got it.
So I see your face, Dale, Councilmember Dale, since you were the last one talking, I think that's what it's going to show on my side. Can everybody see my general fund revenues?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we're ready to go. So I started working on our appropriations on September 16th. We're going to follow this column here, column E. Column F is the current 2020. They're not complete since the year's not complete. And then we have actuals on your paper copies. I believe you have 19, 18, calendar year 17, And then I have some more history here. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the revenue unless we have questions. I do want to start with the general fund. That is the main amount of revenue is these two items, our real estate tax and our city income tax. Because of COVID, this was something that changed this year. So we did reduce in some of the paperwork that we sent to council, the estimated revenue for the city income tax, and I brought it back up a little bit for 2021. And the other revenue sources, and we're just going to kind of go into groups, the intergovernmental and franchise, I'm expecting 99,000, special assessments around 8,000, fines, licenses and permits around 9, charges for services, that includes shelter house if we get that back up, and renting, cellular lease, a little bit of interest earnings, some miscellaneous, and some transfers. So this is what we're going to work with on our revenue for the general fund for 2021. This was 2020 estimated. And then going through, and you can kind of, as we go rolling through, you can tell me to speed up or slow down or ask questions. So for the first part of the general fund expenditures, we have council. Wages, 45,900. The benefit package comes to 5188. Then the expenditures that I have for council's budget, we have training transportation at 1,500, contractual expenditures at 55, materials and supplies at 26. We have no capital in the 2021 budget, a little bit of miscellaneous, and I have the council portion of the budget for appropriations at 62,288. Next group is the city manager. Again, we start with wages and benefits. That comes in at 115,929. I have training transportation at 2,000. Then we have in contractual 42,500. Materials and supplies at 3,300. No capital. Miscellaneous 1,000. And the manager's budget is 126,479.
Hey, Colleen.
Yes, sir.
So can you scroll back up to revenues, please?
Yes, sir.
I got a text message. I just want to point something out here. So we're going to look at the liquor license tax. So in 2020, our former finance director, Debbie, booked $14. That's what was she input into our system. As we can see, the history is above that, which is why we took it back up to around 1,500 in 2021. So that was a question that one of the council members had that was sent via text. I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay.
Okay. And I do apologize for jumping in.
No, you're fine. And that's great because I can't hear anybody. Any others, Mr. Bridge?
No, but council, does anyone have any questions? As Ms. Harris goes along here, anytime that there's questions about anything in training, travel, transportation, or contractual, if you want to talk about maintenance of facilities or maintenance of equipment, go ahead and speak up so we know you want to go over that particular line item. Ms. Harris, if you can go down to the city manager expense, that'd be great. So council, and you guys all have hard copies of this, so you can kind of see what's going on. But what I meant by that is on materials and supplies. So if you guys wanted to know what the 1,500 for operational supplies was for, you're more than welcome to either raise your hand or just kind of jump in with a question. So a lot of these things, we've covered before in the past budget work sessions. So again, if you have any questions, just feel free to speak up.
And if you also make notes, we can address those. You can shoot me an email tomorrow or a phone call, and I can have more answers ready for our next one on Wednesday also. So you might think of something later when you have time to look at this. So moving on, the finance wages. For wages and benefits, the finance department is a combination, and I'm going to share one chart with you we can always go back to. This spreadsheet has a list of all of our employees, all the wages, and how they're broken out. So in the finance budget, it's the finance director, which is myself. It's Vicki Taylor, our finance payroll administrator salary, Victoria Portner, our finance clerk salary, and half of our central cashier receptionist. So as we move along, that's, I wanted to explain it, especially on the finance, because people think that's my wage, and it's not just me, it's a combination. So going down, training and travel. Hopefully if we get out, we have some updates to do with our software we'd like to take advantage of this year. I do have some that I have to do for compliance. As your finance director, I want to get in. Contractual, 89,000. That also includes this contracted tax service. That is the fees that we pay to CCA to collect our taxes. Materials and supplies, 12,800. We have capital in our capital program, miscellaneous, and I have a total for finance for 472,680.
And before we go on, I just want to, as we go on for each fund's capital, Ms. Harris, what I'll do is I'll just remind the public and also council what exactly the capital purchases are.
Okay,
So for the finance department, in 54,000, we have 30,000 for software support, 16,000 for network server protection, and 8,000 for computer replacements for the staff. And that makes up that 54,000 in capital expenses.
thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like a good working plan. Now I'm on the planning budget, wages. That is for 1 full-time for Derek and 2 part-time code enforcement officers. They are part-time, so they're not included in the benefit package other than OPERS and the minimal. So total wages, 117,571. Training and travel, 1,500. Contractual, 83,000. The big number that jumps up here is the planning director. Derek had asked for some community development money, and that is to tear down buildings. Is that correct, Mr. Bridge?
Yeah, tear down buildings and do some other programs in town just to help beautify and develop it.
And that's what brings that one up a little higher than normal. Materials and supplies, 5,500, and we're at the capital for the planning department, Mr. Bridge.
And that is 22,000 for a vehicle. So if we look at alternative ways to get them a vehicle 2021, that number could possibly go down.
Thank you. Total planning expenditures, $231,071. The difference between the prior years is we did not have the planning department. So that is reflecting your full-time and 2 part-time officers. Law director fees, 60,000. General fund, we're in the Parks Department. I'm sorry, Mr. Bridge.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Council, any discussion on our law director fees? That is the contractual amount that we have with Mr. Jeffries. As we can see, the history of that, we had an outstanding year and an outstanding as being in bad. In 2018, as we can see, we are slowly reducing that cost, and a large part of that is due to a newly hired law director. So that should encompass what we have for the year or some overages. If council had any programs or anything like that they would want Jake to look into, now is the time to discuss that.
I will bring forth a point of order.
Sure.
What about bringing the court system back under our own bailiwick and providing for a magistrate?
As we talked about when I saw you today, Derek and I, the planning director, were literally just talking about this morning and thinking about, would it be a mayor-led thing or do the magistrate route? I think it would be a great revenue stream for the city. Derek will be looking at some items to present to myself, which is ultimately going to lead to council. He's going to look at other cities, and then we'll have to talk to some magistrates to get some kind of quote down for how much it's going to cost, and then do a return on our investment type analysis on, the anticipated amount that we could actually get from this. But I think it is a great idea to look into it to see if it would be beneficial for the city.
When I was attending Enon Village Council meetings, they were clearing several thousand a month, each month, off of Mayor's Court. So I think it would be a wise thing to do.
Okay. So with that being said, council, what we can do is I'm going to make a note, just take notes down. And at our next regularly scheduled council meeting, which is November 2nd, I will ask council for a motion, see how the majority of council looks at. That way I can know if I should have Derek continue on with his research. If it's something that council's not interested in, then, we'll have to look alternative ways. But we can definitely have Derek do some ground research to give council something, hopefully before November 2nd. But then since we can't vote tonight for anything, I'm just going to make notes that what we can vote on at the November 2nd meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor, did you have anything else?
No, that's primarily, I think that listening to some of the problems that we've got in regards to the county courts not really wanting to take our, let's say, planning director and the enforcement officers' citations under their bailiwick.
Yeah.
We may have to either go into some alternative means of getting these people cited into court. Whereas if we have our own court, I'm sure we can do it. I would lean toward a magistrate rather than mayor's court.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did I hear another council member have something?
Unless you want a serious part-time job.
So,
I don't hear him jumping up and down.
no, you don't. All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Cook. Back to you, Ms. Harris.
All right, thank you. So we're on the parks, the part of the general fund, wages, benefits. That package is $44,336. We have nothing in training, travel, transportation, contractual, $28,400. Materials and supplies, $5,350. And we have capital, Mr. Bridge.
Yeah, so we do. We have 77,500. What that consists of is 25,000 for upgrades, additions to the shelter house. And we have 15,000 in bike path equipment repairs, 17,500 for a wood chipper, 10,000 for a bucket truck, and $10,000 for a trailer. That gives us the 77,500. And some of those items like the bucket truck and I do believe the trailer are actually split amongst multiple departments.
Thank you.
Did you have something, Mr. Cobb? Okay, just checking. Mr. Bridge, I had one. I thought I'd heard you mention at some point that you were gonna, and I don't know if it was for 2021 or not, as far as maybe putting aside some money for the skate park. Was you looking into doing something like that anytime soon?
That's something we're definitely going to have to sit down. We actually had our PEP visit today, which was on the city manager report, and that's our liability insurance walkthrough. And one of the things she went and looked at was the skate park.
Yeah.
She did make some recommendations on that as far as fixing some things. I guess there's a side piece falling off, but also more importantly, where the thin part where it comes down and meets the ground is, I guess, getting raised. I guess they're moving it around. It's something that we're going to sit down. I didn't put any money away in 2021 because I think it's just a little too early. But I would like to approach council with that discussion because it is going to take some money to repair. I don't think it's going to be feasible in 2021, which is why it's not on the CIP. I intended on talking with you guys and then putting it somewhere in 2022 or past.
Okay. Yeah. I know nothing about that kind of stuff when it comes to the price of the equipment. Did you get some ideas of what kind of money we would be talking?
Yeah, when we talked about this last time, and unfortunately I don't have anything in front of me, I would like to do something that's a lot more permanent, not a middle skate park, but one that's actually cements, a nice one.
Okay.
It is something that those things tend to draw people in. It's great for our residents. And those can be kind of expensive. I don't have the price per square foot that I looked at. I don't remember it, so I don't want to give the information out without having it. But it is going to be not cheap.
Right. Yeah, I would imagine so. And then one more thing, actually, when we'd finished up, when we had our meeting at Smith Park, you and Mr. Vice Mayor, the lady that had talked to us about the benches next to the playground, is that, again, I don't know what those little benches run, but was that something that would be possible, you think?
That is in 2022. Playground.
Okay.
So that fall, I'm sorry. That's under, I think, park upgrades, but it was moved back from 2021 to 2022 just due to the COVID, but it is on the radar. Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all I had.
Sure.
I have a question. We
Go ahead,
have liability insurance for the parks.
Yes, sir.
So if someone gets hurt at the park, it's covered. Like say, for instance, some idiot 71-year-old guy ramps his bike at the park, gets hurt.
Yeah.
So we would be covered under that.
Yeah. We have claim coverage on that. Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Yep. And Mr. Mayor, back to your point too, but we can do some quick fixes on that. We have some existing benches that we can actually turn around and just reallocate. But as far as buying new ones, that's going to be 2022. But we still can do what she requested, which was a fantastic idea.
Yeah, it was just something that I would have never thought of unless somebody had said something. So
Absolutely.
so thank you.
Sure.
Council, any other questions before we give it back to Ms. Harris? All right, back to you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So we're up to miscellaneous, $1,000, and the park expenses will be $156,586. Next section is special events, Parks and Rec Board. So we put in for the special events Park and Rec, 5,000. We did take out the fireworks. I highlighted it for discussion. And the other is to ask if council would be in agreement to put a employee holiday budget amount in there. That would be basically to take care of the Christmas party, just having it catered in, not prizes, not thrills and frills, but like a nice meal or 2 small ones. So I'll send this back to Randy. These were items to discuss.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Harris. So the Parks and Rec Board, that is obviously an extension of City Council. So I didn't know where council wanted to guide them for 2021. And then also too, for the fireworks, I just wanted council to actually have some discussion on those 2 line items. And of course, when we do our holiday party every year, you know, it can get kind of pricey. And we kind of end up having to pull money from just various places to get it to go through. So we would like to actually start budgeting for that. And what Ms. Harris meant by 2 is not only a holiday Christmas party, but we like to maybe sometimes in the spring or summer just have an employee cookout at the pool or at the park. So that's basically what that new line item would entail.
Council, any feedback on either one of these, the fireworks or the employee appreciation?
I don't see us really being in a position to do fireworks again this year. Not from what they're saying in terms of the peaking and stuff.
Okay.
So I think it's wise to pull it out.
Any other feedback, council, on the fireworks?
Mike, I'll have to go along with Linda. I think we need to get over this coronavirus, see where we're at that point, and then entertain this probably for 21, if at that point.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Anyone else?
Yes. Yep. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we lost Councilman Roadwall. So Ms. Harris, can you go ahead and let him into the meeting because you are a host? Do you remember how to do that? If you go down to participants.
Okay.
And then his name should be on that list somewhere, just kind of, or he should be up top of that list. And it says let in or.
Okay. I think he's in.
Let me check my screen.
Get him back.
Yep, he's back. Thank you. And we're sorry to interrupt.
I have a question.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
This is 2021 expenses we're talking about, correct?
Yes.
No, the fireworks, we have what, 9 months? We can always put it back in if things are mellowing out, correct?
Yes, you're also more than welcome to earmark some money now and put it in and placehold it and not use it. Which actually in the long run, if council's thinking about doing that, that would actually save work on our end because it's a whole new legislation piece. We'd have to submit new legislation. You guys take that up to the county auditor. So there's nothing wrong with putting something in there and not using it.
Well, since if we put it in and do not have to use it, I would like to put it in anyway.
I agree.
And I was going to say the same thing. I agree, Mr. Graham. What
Because
kind of
9 months, you never know what's going to happen.
right?
Okay. So the 15,000 will go back in as we booked for 2020 and 2019.
Okay, so what we'll do with that is go ahead and leave it in at 15,000, and I'll put that on my note. So on the meeting on 11/2 during the regular session, council can make a motion to approve all these edits. That way we know we have it in formal action, regular session with the vote. Does that sound good to everyone?
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
This money for your parties and that, why don't you go potluck? Why should the taxpayers have to pay for a Christmas party and all that?
Because it's when you throw an appreciation party for your employees who work year round and do a fantastic job, you know, it's sometimes easier not to put that stress on them to have to cook. I personally do not feel comfortable eating potluck meals. That's just my own personal preference. So it's always nice to go out and take them. You know, last year, like, you know, we invited council, we rented the party room over, and then, you know, we had all that catered in. We'd like to continue that. So that's why it's in there. And 2,000 in the overall, you know, budget is minimal, but, you know, it's just more of an appreciation for employees doing hard work and not have to worry about cooking.
I
meals.
disagree with it.
I don't see how you can have an appreciation party and then say, and you're going to show your appreciation for working here by preparing the meal.
I find it kind of tacky to say, hey, we really appreciate you, but you have to fix dinner.
Right.
Right. All right. Anyone else?
I will put that on the 11/2 discussion motion thing, since we have a council member who would like to discuss that a little further.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bridge. Thank you, Mr. Cobb.
Okay, moving on, we have lands and buildings expenditures. And under contractual, it's 92,000. Materials and supplies, 1,500. And we're up to our capital. I think these are two broken out, but Mr. Bridge, if there's any more detail.
Yep. So the grand total is 77,500. What that consists of is some money to do the substation downtown, as well as the conference center. And then that's 15,000. We have 2,500 in hand tools and 20,000 in upgrades and repairs. That's to the city garage. And then we have our city portion of the Community Development Block Grant grant award for the demolition of the Madison Street School, and that's 40,000. And the total of all those are 77,500.
Okay.
What
moving-
about, would this be the place to possibly putting a line item in for a $50,000, I guess the word is dropping the bucket towards the building of a new city building somewhere down the pike?
I mean, just to start like a little savings fund for it, more or less.
Yes, Mike.
I have a suggestion on where to put that, Mr. Cook, when we get to that, if council
Okay.
wants to save a little bit. We have a government fund. That's the government building, which was originally set up when Madison was bought. And we could make a transfer from the general fund of an amount that council is comfortable with to put into that new fund. That way it's protected and it's saved.
Mhm.
No problem.
Okay, great. So we'll be getting to that and we can discuss the amount. Notes and interest is the loan here for the current building that we're in. And miscellaneous. So I have the lands and buildings at 197,500. We have one more category, and that is our miscellaneous in the general fund, training and travel. These are areas that don't have a specific other area to go into. So we have 500 for training and travel. Contractual is 102,200. Mostly considering the auditor fees, state fees. Records destruction is new this year to take care of all those record purging and destruction when we do move out of the current sheriff's building where the records are held, legal advertising and codified updates. So these are all kind of unusual expenditures, excuse me. So that's 102,200. Materials and supplies, 3,000. No capital and no debt in this area. And then we have miscellaneous election fees. So this comes into 119,700.
So before we go on, Colleen, if you can just scroll, we're going to look at the election fee line item. So as we see the history on that, we see in 2020 as booked, it kind of had an outlier year. Well, we had a special election put on the ballot, and that was the cost of it. So it was about the difference between the two, maybe 7,000 or 8,000, maybe 10,000. But if you see that spike, that's what that was for.
Thank you, Mr. Bridge. Ms. Harris, real quick, if you don't mind, I had a quick question. I apologize if you mentioned it and I didn't hear it because I was kind of reading and trying to listen at the same time.
Okay.
Is there something on here for the demo of the current substation, if
Yes.
that was to go through?
It is right here under our
Okay.
capital program in the general fund, part of the 62.5.
Okay.
No,
So,
Not all of that. That's the repairs to there's other items listed, but it's in there. Madison. Oh, I'm sorry. You said the police. I
No,
think it's in the police budget when we get
Okay.
to that.
Yes.
and then one more is since we're on this screen, I can't see who all is here. Is Mr. Kitco on here?
He might be on standby.
Okay. Well, my question is.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, here he
Okay.
is.
There he is. Thank you. Did we need to set any, do we need to put any more into here, whether it's, 2,000 or, whatever's needed for the mechanics garage and or the hut as far as any safety concerns down there at either one of those locations?
The city garage is covered, the old section in lands and buildings, I think, right? I can't remember. I don't have the capital in front of me.
Okay.
Did you say that, Mr. Bridge? Because I didn't hear all your capital.
Hold on, I'm looking. Upgrades and repairs, 20,000 to the city garage, and repair, replace old section of city garage, paid for by general fund or financing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right there on the front, garage repairs and Madison.
Right. And then is the hut okay safety wise? I mean, is there any issues there?
No, the hut's fine. We've been the doors have been replaced, and structurally that hut is in great condition. Sometimes it's just the inner panels we have to keep putting back up.
Okay. That's all I needed. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
And back, council, any other questions for Ms. Harris before she goes on? All right, back to you, Ms. Harris.
All right, thank you. So now we're in the last portion, and this is the general fund transfers to other funds, other departments. We have $70,000 going to supplement the pool fund. We have 30,000 going to cemetery, and when we get to cemetery, it is to help supplement the income. There is not a lot of income coming in for the cemetery fund, and it's hard to budget because you don't know what you're going to sell and what type of income comes in. So in this budget workshop, that when we get to cemetery was short, and that's what the general fund has to do, is supplement any of them that are short. So we have 70 for the pool, 30 for cemetery, and our debt service fund, which is every year, is 107. We did take out the transfer to Twin Creeks. There is enough fund balance when we get to that, that it should be paying its own debt, and we shouldn't be depleting the general fund. Now, if the general fund was healthy and had a lot of money, it's different. But the next section right here, this is our general fund. So questions here, and then I want to go over what our estimated ending balance will be.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
On the pool fund, that 70,000, what's that projected for?
It is to cover the additional income that it needs to cover the expenditures, and it'll be broken down when we get to the pool fund. But that's what the pool fund will need to stay balanced.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're anticipating 2020's ending balance to be 940,000 in the general fund. That carries over, and this will be our beginning estimated balance effective January 1st, 2021. This is a total of all the revenue that we talked about that we anticipate coming in on the general fund. And this is a total of all the expenditures that we went through, including the fireworks. That was the one that we just increased. So it shows that we're using $390,443 of our fund balance, basically because the revenue is $1,264,000. Expenditures are $1,600,000 for an ending balance of $550,126. And before I get everybody really nervous, we usually are conservative on the revenue. We watch it closely. If it looks like it's going to be under, we'll ask to increase the budget, but it usually, this number will come in higher, and we always stay within the appropriations and lower, meaning this end of the year total should be higher. And when we go through 2021, we shouldn't have spent all that, and this balance should be higher. But with all things that we're projecting to put this budget together, this is how each of these funds are going to have a total to show us what we can expect. So history, we had a really hard time in 14. We worked up to 2015, we increased it. 2016 was doing good, 17's better, 18, you can see we've always ended up with more revenue than expenditures, but it doesn't always start out that way when we work our budget. So I just wanted to explain that. Now, is there any questions I can help with?
Council, any questions?
Nope.
Okay, so I won't go into that much detail, but you'll see on each of the funds, then we have that total sheet, and that gives us an idea of what our beginning balance, ending balance will be. Street construction. Starting off with our revenue, we have motor vehicle license, state gas, 320,000 estimated coming in, and a little bit of miscellaneous that brings that at 320,500. And as for the expenditures, we have wages, 133 with the employee benefits. That's 230,000. Training and travel is 1,500. Contractual is 40,000. Materials and supplies, 35,000. And we have capital in the street fund, Mr. Bridge.
Let me find it because it's not in order. All right, are we at street construction?
Yes.
Okay, so
201.
all right, we got 73,000 total.
Yes.
And so what that consists of is 17,500 for a wood chipper, 7,500 for a snow plow, 40,000 for a bucket truck, and 8,000 for a motor. And we are that gives us a total of $73,000.
Okay. Don't hear any questions. Moving on, our debt service, we do not have. Our backhoe is paid off in 2019. We have $1,000 in miscellaneous. So our expected our expenses are $381,413. This is our estimated carryover from the end of this year, 97,000. Revenue at 320, expenditures of 381. Which does include a very large, nice capital, which of course we don't spend if anything looks short, but that gives us an ending balance in the street fund of $36,790. Is there any questions on the street fund?
May I real quick?
Yes.
Can you scroll up, and I just want to double check because it went by me real quick. Keep going a little bit to asphalt aggregate right there. Where are we at? No, too far.
Asphalt. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I know we reduced that.
Number.
Yep. I'm sorry.
That number looks correct. We booked 45 in 2020.
It was, we were able to do 45 because the gas tax that we were, that we got with the savings from the street levy to do the countywide project.
Mhm.
We are anticipating a little bit lower because of the capital. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for street? We'll move on to state highway. State highway's revenue source is the motor vehicle license and a portion of the state gas tax. for an estimated 26,000 in revenue. Expenditures, a little bit of contractual, 5,700. Materials and supplies, 6,000, for a total of 11,700. We have an estimated beginning balance, January 1 of 2021, of $111,224. Estimated revenue at 26,000. Estimated expenses 11,700. And we have an estimated ending balance of $125,524. Any questions on state highway?
Just a comment, please.
Yes, sir.
Just to let council, everyone know that we are trying to keep our expenditures down in state highway only because in July of 2023, which is ODOT fiscal year 24, they will be resurfacing State Route 235 and we will have to pay 20%. And that's where these funds they'll take care of that 20% for the city share.
Thank you.
Howie.
Okay, state permissive tax. Our revenue source is vehicle permissive tax. We really don't have anything other than that. Expenditures is a portion of wages come out of that, and that ends up being $62,062. And it's kind of a break-even fund. So we have an estimated $2,701 starting out. We have $62,000 in revenue, $62,062 in expenditures, ending balance of $2,639. Any questions on state permissive?
Nope.
Okay, street improvement levy. Street improvement levy, we get real estate taxes, and we get homestead rollbacks. That's from our levies. We have $132,108 estimated coming in. Expenditures are auditor fees, maintenance of infrastructure, asphalt, for a total contractual of $132,500. Miscellaneous 500 for $133,000 in expenses. So we start out estimating $19,742 at the beginning of the year. Our revenue is $132,108. Expenditures of $133,000 for an ending balance of $18,850.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You could scroll up, Mrs. Harris.
Sure.
Is there significance to these figures being in blue?
I have a little note for when, as we're working, we did reduce that. There was Mr. Kiko and I in our workshop, he wanted to be able to spend a little bit more, but we had to stay within our revenue. So I put them in blue as a note too. If that changes at the end of this year, it's for my notes. If we end up having more, he might be able to have a little more to spend. But once you approve this budget, it won't change either. So if it doesn't happen before then, and I'm probably getting confused, but that was just my note. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, emergency ambulance capital.
Hey, Colleen,
Yes, sir.
anything fire or EMS related, we're going to pass over and hit on Wednesday at noon.
Okay, sir. Let me get past all of those. Okay, we're up to health levy. Health levy's revenue is our real estate taxes and homestead rollbacks for a total of $63,204. And with our expenditures, we have basically the fees that the auditor charges for the levy, and then the rest goes to Clark County Combined Health. This fund is always balanced. We basically pay them everything that we receive. Any questions on the health levy?
Nope.
Okay, we're up to the police levy. Police levy gets 0.5% of our income tax, estimating that at $530,000. Expenditures, training and travel is $2,000. Contractual is $646,500, with the majority being for the contract services for our police force. I did have part of the collection fees for CCA is getting in the budget this year, and then continuing on for their share of the expenditures. Materials and supplies, 22,000. Capital is 42,500. Mr. Bridge?
Yes, so out of that 42,500, 17,500 is for equipment upgrades. 15,000 is the other half of putting the substation downtown. And then we have 10,000 for the demolition of the current substation, should it be moved.
Thank you.
Is that what you're going to spend to renovate that downtown for the sheriff?
Yeah, 15, up to 15, sir, yes.
Thank you.
Oh, let me mute myself.
Then I had one call, or whoever wants to chime in on the, let's see, let me make sure I'm looking at the right line here. Hang on just one second. Where'd it go? Maintenance of equipment. What all does that cover? Is that like just their cruisers, or what's that go? What does that cover? The 10,000.
Various things in their department. It could be their cruiser, it could be something, and they have a calculator break, they have a mouse or keyboard break.
So, but it also covers like maintenance of the, like if they need new tires or something.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I was wondering. Thank you.
So total expenditures for the police levy, 714,000. And as you can see, most of it is your contract for services for the deputies. So our beginning balance, we're estimating is $346,708. Revenue source coming in is 530,000. Estimated expenditures, 714,000. That'll end the balance at $162,708.
Yeah, before we move on, I'd like to talk with council about this particular fund. Ms. Harris, can you scroll back up to the actual cost of the contract? Okay, so this is where it gets tricky with trying to project this fund. So we have to, as we know, our sheriff contract, I changed to how we were billed back in 2015. So right now, how they bill us is for the highest paid rate step deputy and also for a family plan. So on our contract we get, it's going to have the most we will absolutely pay for the year, but we very rarely even come close. I had Ms. Harris pull a expense report to date on that. Right now we have expended around 340,000 of that. So basically, to make it a little more easy to understand, they'll bill us for someone who gets paid the highest and has a family plan, but in actuality, we may have someone who is very low on the pay scale and only has a single family plan for the insurance. So when we have to take those things into account, it makes it kind of hard to kind of really accurately judge that fund. So Ms. Harris, if you want to scroll down to the ending balances. So right now I'm anticipating carrying over more than the 346 from 20 and 2021. Since we're about 200,000, maybe 220 off of the actual contract, we only have a few more billing cycles to go. So we're going to carry a lot of that over well, that'll play into the fund balance for 2021. So at some point in time, I'm going to make the recommendation to council at some point in time, probably towards the end of the 2021, to kind of look at the revenue and expenses we have through the finance report that we give you guys monthly, and council will have to make that determination. Should you go forward in 2022 with the 5th deputy or cut it back down to 4? If you do keep the 5th and it does go over, the general fund can make the transfer, but it should be supported in its own police levy balance here.
Mr. Bridge,
Yes, sir.
did we not discuss when we brought the sergeant out here, we would remove the one deputy?
That'll be a decision that your whole entire council will have to make, sir.
Yeah, but I think we've already made that decision.
No, I don't think you guys have, because no formal vote's been taken. You'd have to open up the contract and amend it.
We had discussed here a couple of meetings ago about when we brought the sergeant out here of taking the 5th deputy and not having that 5th deputy.
Well, there's no formal vote on it with council. So you guys would have to discuss that as a group and decide how you want us to move forward with administering the budget. But that would be a whole council decision, because we would have to bring legislation forth, because you would have to amend the current contract. So if you guys had if you guys had discussions on it, that's fine, and it's and that's awesome. But you would still have to do a formal vote of action through council to actually change anything.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bridge.
Mhm.
Anything else, Mr. Cobb?
No.
All right. And back to you, Miss Harris.
Okay. General bond retirement. Revenue source is a little bit of the real estate homestead for 6,600. And then this is the transfer in that I showed you back in the general fund that we were transferring out for the general fund. It comes into this fund to make the debt payment. That puts $113,603 as revenue. The expenditures are the debt payments, $112,800. A little bit of auditor fee, and that should supplement this fund. So basically, whatever the debt payment comes from the general fund as a transfer. Any questions on the general bond retirement expense? Okay. Twin Creeks, we get a little bit of assessments as a source of income. We did not put anything in as general fund. Again, trying to protect the general fund when we can. And the reason being our debt payment is $76,000, a little bit of expenditures for auditor fees. Our expenditures are $77,566. We have $334,000 being carried over in this fund. So it will make the payment. And I estimate it making it for probably 4 or 5 years till we need to maybe talk about supplementing the general fund, or it might be almost paid off. I think there's only 6 years, 5 or 6 years left on it. So any questions on Twin Creeks? Okay, we're up to the water. Water and wastewater, our next two big ones. Do we need a break for anyone before we start?
Anybody need a break?
Nope.
All right.
Okay, great. So Howie will chime in if needed. The questions can, he's definitely here to help. So our income for the water department, water charges and some miscellaneous, $985,950. And under the expenditures, we have wages, benefits of $364,318. We have training and travel at $2,300. Contractual, $174,850. Materials and supplies, $99,500. Capital outlay, Mr. Bridge.
Okay, so for the water, we have, just want to make sure my totals match, $215,163, and that is out of Fund 501 Water Operating, and it breaks down as follows. $28,875 as a repayment to the general fund, $20,000 for a hydraulic/GPS study location, $5,000 for tower controls, $18,000 for a new box utility truck that will be purchased later on or financed this year. $4,000 for industrial pipe saw. We have $115,288 going into the tower maintenance program and the removal of Adams Tower. We have $14,000 for 6 new 5/1/4 fire hydrants. $4,000 for a trench shoring system, and $6,000 in technology upgrades for a total of $215,163.
How much did you say for tower removal?
It is tower maintenance program and removal of Adams Tower is $115,288. But I have a feeling that would only cover the tower maintenance program. Howie, you want to chime in on that? Don't we pay about that?
Yeah, the 115 is our annual asset management cost.
Okay. So that would not cover for removal of Adams Tower. So when you guys approve that, we'll have to take that out by amending it. Howie, where are we putting money to actually remove the tower should that happen in 2021?
That's right. It's in 2020 currently. That would be in the capital.
Did you? Okay.
That sounds like something I might have
Yeah, we'll
missed
talk
because we
about
have in 20, which still may happen.
Colleen,
may
can you
not.
scroll down to the fund balance? I think there's over 100 in that one.
We have 193.
Hold on, I'm gonna mute myself.
The tower estimate for removal is that we got last time was 38,000 to remove.
You guys are starting to tuck money away for that now?
We have it currently in the 2020. I think I might either overlooked it for 2021, but we are currently in negotiations with the EPA. And just to give you a quick update, even though this isn't it, it will be hard to get an EPA rep in, but the Suez might be able to bring a rep in.
Okay.
But we're trying to finish up the study right now with some pump inflows. But
Okay, so we're counting on putting money off to the side for possible removal. Are we doing the same for possibly keeping it?
keeping it is going to be right now it's the amount of money could go either way. So let's say we make it 40,000, it could go either way. But to keep it, we're at minimum of 350,000, close to 500,000 to keep it.
Okay.
Big difference.
Council, anything else for this area? All right. I guess back,
So we're,
yep, back to you, Colleen. Sorry.
okay, thank you. So we're at debt service and we're still in the water department. So we have $239,951 on our debt. We did pay off again the backhoe that was in there in 19, no longer in 20 or 21. We have miscellaneous 3,500, and that brings the total beginning estimated fund balance for the water of $193,989, revenues of $985,950, expenditures $1,099,582, for an ending balance of $80,357. Any questions on the water fund? Okay, we're on to wastewater. Wastewater's revenue, you've had the legislation to start the sewer increases that, and you're going to see why this is needed. So we've estimated $1 million for 2021 when this revenue kicks in, for a total with the miscellaneous for $1,004,500 for income. Expenditures, wages, benefits come up to $504,521. Training and travel, $1,250. Contractual, $249,750. Materials and supplies, $40,000. And capital is $56,000. If Mr. Bridge is still muted, I have my sheet.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, so 56,000 on the capital.
All right, so 56 out of water operating fund 502. That is 10,000 for a rotating biological contactor, 40,000 for a utility crane truck, and 6,000 for technology upgrades.
Then we have our debt service for the wastewater plant. We do have this new account. This is for the influent building and the new clarifier. That debt payment starts in 2021. That'll be $125,319. Total debt service of $180,613. And we did pay off the sewer jet this year, so at least that came off. That puts a total expenditures in the sewer wastewater $1,033,034. This one's a little tight. We estimate $28,669 moving over to the beginning of this year. Revenue with the new increases to $1,004,500. $500 and estimated expenditures of $1,033,034 for an ending balance of $135.
Okay, Colleen, when we were looking at this today, that ending balance was a little higher. It was like $127,000. What happened?
It wasn't 129,000 in this one.
Scroll back up to the revenues, if you don't mind.
And our revenue source.
Okay.
That's all we've got. And that's being conservative. I'm hoping it's more, but that's a big number when we haven't put it in place and managed it yet.
Hey, Colleen,
Yes, sir.
up there in the revenues at 881,000, that's not current book, that's our projected, right?
That's projected.
For the finish out the rest of the year added on to the 750. Okay.
Yeah. I think the biggest hit is our capital. I'm going to scroll down, and sorry if that goes too quick, that we also had a lot of capital in this year. That takes away a lot of the fund balance. We started at 261,000 in 2020 and we're ending at 28. So it doesn't bring us a lot over, but we have a lot of capital that needed done.
How much of that capital has actually been expended year to date?
$297,871.
Okay. Yeah, me and Howard will have to talk about that tomorrow.
So that 297 is the amount that I updated here to try to bring as much over as I could.
Okay, but the problem is, so if you scroll back to your revenues, if your estimated revenues don't come into what we're projecting, that 135 is now going to be negative. So,
Which means we don't do the capital, but that's only 56,000.
56,000. Yeah, I get you on that, but okay.
So again, we picked up this new debt. That's a big one for 2021.
Was that a loan payment?
Yeah, it'll be the money coming back that we got when you guys got the
Is that the clarifier?
clarifier and the influent building.
Yeah, it's a 3-year loan.
So we definitely can get together and discuss, because that is, and
I know my rates were calculated off the 750. So if we do bring in 800 and some, that just makes my numbers better, because I already was conservative of doing my increase based on the 750. I can go back and look to double check before we meet, and I'll have those with us.
yeah, because I think we were estimating it to come in at $1 million, and that's like the minimum to get this to balance out this year.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What are wastewater miscellaneous receipts? An example of those.
I believe those can be delinquent payments, right, Colleen?
This one is, yeah, let's see, we have delinquent payments here. This would be, it's supposed to be for if somebody has a bank charge for a return check or something very minor. The
Tap
reason,
fees.
yeah, the reason this number is high is this is where we put the money that we receive from the bank ahead of time for the influent building and the clarifier, and you have to book that as revenue. So it went into miscellaneous, but as you can see from history, $3,000-$4,000, $7,000. I can go and detail any of this information and bring back to you if anybody would like.
I was just curious.
Okay.
Yeah, 130,000 seems like an awful lot of bad checks.
Yeah, that would be, but that's the big check from the bank for the influent, and then we booked it there as revenue.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So I'll go back to the bottom line of the sewer. Any other discussion, questions? Not, our management staff will get together on this tomorrow. All right, I'm going to go to the swimming pool then. Swimming pool revenue, charges for service is estimating at $7,250. That's your pool memberships, gate fees, concession, rentals, games if the pool's open. Then we have miscellaneous of $1,500. And here's your $70,000 from the general fund that we subtracted out to supplement. And that's, I'll show you why. On the expenditures, we have for the wages and benefits, $47,820. Training and travel, $500. Contractual, $22,000. Materials and supplies, $26,250. Capital, Mr. Bridge, $73,000.
Yeah, so for the pool, 73,000 total, we have 40,000 being saved for a pool liner. And then we also have 10,000 in pool maintenance, 3,000 for a AED defibrillator, 5,000 for a security system, and then also $15,000 for building upgrades.
Mr. Bridge.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute.
Are you okay, sir?
I'm all right.
Okay.
Is there any way you can make note to discuss at the second about increasing non-residence fees on the pool?
Yes, absolutely.
So I mean, since we're looking at 80,000 on the pool liner, correct?
Yes. To increase non-residential pool fees. Gotcha.
Right.
Yep, it's noted, sir. Are you sure you're okay?
I've been coughing up blood.
Okay. You need to excuse yourself because we're
No,
about
I'm
done.
fine.
for the evening.
I'm
Okay.
fine.
Well, if that ever happens, just let the mayor know.
Okay, I had one, Mr. Bridge. What did you say? And I apologize. I was
Oh,
trying to
you're good.
write. What did you have down for the pool liner to be set aside this year?
40,000.
40 and okay, so the liner's mid 70s to possibly 80.
Yeah. So if we see in 20, yeah. So, and sorry to interrupt you, but in 2022 in the CIP, I know I'm the only one who can see this. We have the remaining second half of 45,000 for the liner.
Okay. Let's see here, 70. Let's see here. Couldn't we take, okay, because the pool liners, it's going to help us not lose money, more or less, as far as water leakage, chemicals from the pool and the water plant, and then also heat and gas. Couldn't we remove 40 from the 70,000 that we were going to put into planning to knock buildings down and put that over to the pool and put the liner in for this year? I mean, since it is eating away year after year, and we haven't fixed it yet.
Where are you? What now?
Unless I was looking at it wrong, didn't we take 70,000 from the general fund and put it into planning for Derek to do miscellaneous building removals and things of that nature?
Yeah. So you want to take 70,000 out of community development and to put it into a pool?
No, not 70, 40
40.
is what I would like to see. I mean, this has been a continuous discussion and problem every year for the pool, and planning is somewhat of a new investment. And I'm not saying I don't want to invest in it, but if we could just cut his down by 40 and put it in and get that fixed.
Well,
Thus
we can
saving,
put it in there, but I don't know why we would jeopardize citywide community development for the pool. But I will note it down here because council can discuss it, but any formal action will have to take place via a vote. But that would
Right.
severely hinder what Mr. Derrick can do, what he wants for community development. But that, yeah, we can note it, but any kind of formal change would have to be voted on at the 11/2 meeting.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions on the pool? I'll get myself back here. So that's bringing in an estimated beginning balance, $48,131. Full revenue of $141,750. Full expenditures of $170,570. Ending balance, $19,311. If that gets higher, we could reduce also the transfer from the general fund if we haven't finished our budget, or increase your capital, I guess. That's up to Mr.
Actually,
Bridge.
Colleen, if you really want to be honest, like if it's ending with 19,311 projected, we don't need to have the $70,000 transfer.
But it would come down to like 60, because we don't want to, yeah, sure, we could reduce
Right.
it
What I'm
10
saying
or
is,
15,000.
yeah, if that's having a 19,000 ending balance with a $70,000 transfer in the pool, we can actually reduce the transfer into the pool.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. So we'll just note that, discuss that
That would
later.
be great.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right, we will check that ending balance. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to cemetery. So cemetery will also have a general fund transfer in, and I told you I would show you. The sales, the income for cemetery is sale of cemetery lots, the cost to open graves and close, and a foundation construction. Those are really hard to estimate. We kind of use our history to see what we might be getting each year. So it was definitely hit by COVID this year, and I put the actuals that we have to date on the books. So I think next year I brought it back up to 61,000 as an estimated revenue.
I got several there for you.
Pardon? Go ahead, Mr. Cobb.
What do we charge for opening, closing of a grave?
Oh, I don't have that list with me.
I can get it.
Okay.
I got it. Just give me a second. That legislation was actually just introduced to council to the last meeting. I do believe we're actually voting on that. So I have that right here. Give me a second. I'll pull up that ordinance. Cemetery rates. Nope, I need the attachment. Okay, so right now, sir, we pay, and bear with me because I got to go through the whole code section. So grave for a resident right now is $550. For a non-resident, it's $600. Council will be voting to raise each of those by $50 on November 2nd.
Okay, also, do we not have to repair a building out there or build another one?
That's part of the capital.
No, I'm just saying, didn't we discuss that here at the last meeting about building had to be renovated or rebuilt?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So Colleen, that's probably down in the capital expenses, Mr. Cobb, when she gets down there.
All right. Yeah, I'm just concerned with.
Oh, you and me both.
This is the first time in many years. I think in 2019, the general fund transferred 20,000, and then not since 2014. So right now it's tentatively in there to make it balance. And showing you why the expenditures, we have a part of one employee. It's not even a full-time employee's wage and benefits, and that comes to $54,366. Transportation, travel, training, $250. Contractual at $16,200. Materials and supplies at $7,000. And then here's the capital, Mr. Bridge.
Yep. So for cemetery capital, that was Fund 510. We have a total of $38,000. That is $5,000 for roadway repairs, $25,000 for cemetery building repairs, and $8,000 for attachments and accessories. Those attachments is a very equipment and snow plows.
Do we not need to? I forgot what I was going to say. Do we not need to have a discussion on improving the roadways out there more?
We have 5,000 a year set aside for 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
Wouldn't it be better to go ahead and increase that fee
So what?
for the roadways?
The CIP has been introduced. It's going to be voted on next week by you guys. So,
Well, I'm just saying
council should have already had that discussion when we went through the CIP and stuff. So that's why that 5,000 was set, because that's what we all agreed to. But I can note it down there if you guys want to put more into it.
Right, but what I'm saying, the old CIP fell. It's no longer there. We're under the new one now, correct?
Yeah, and that's what I'm reading off of. The new one.
So, if we want to discuss it at the next meeting, increasing that money for the roadways, it can be introduced and voted on.
Well, yeah, but that's the reason why we killed the CIP before that, is because there's so many changes being done. So if you guys want, we can just note it down. If you guys want to put more into it, we'll just amend it, I guess, and do that again. So I'll just put down 5,000, improve.
You're gonna have to go through and redo the whole thing, right?
Well, you just have to, I'm not doing that. We'll just have to pass it with amendments, which is fine. But the reason we started over because the one we did in 19 was amended like 6-7 times. I mean, almost 5. It was a lot. So, and then it was going down that route with the 2021 one, which is why we just started a new one and let that one die for this one. So there's some other changes that I have to do. So we'll just have to go and pass it with amendments, but I don't want to start the whole process over again.
Okay. Does council have any other feedback on that one?
But you got to understand, if you put more in roadway repair, that's going to be more of a transfer that's going to be required from the general fund.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say that. We'll have to pull more out of the general fund, which will change that ending balance to increase here, because the cemetery, I only will end up with $1,000.
We're just trying to clean up the processes with the city, so when we have our final CIP on the cover, you don't see it amended 5 times.
Right.
It makes us look like we're not,
Mr. Cobb, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
You good with that, sir? Fantastic.
I was just thinking ahead.
Council, any other comments on that one? All right. All righty.
Okay, Waterworks capital improvement. This revenue source is 7% from the water revenue goes, or the water tap-in fees goes into this capital improvement, funds the capital improvement account. And then there's 10,000 in the capital.
Oh, that's Waterworks.
550.
Oh my God, you guys can probably hear me talking to myself, can't you?
Yeah, but we ignore it.
Thank you.
Just chew on one of those milk bones that you gave to your dog.
I have. They're not very tasteful. No, I'm kidding. All right, we have fund 550.
Yes.
And this is Waterworks
Mm-hmm.
for 10,000.
I believe that was money put back for the main line, right? Main line or valve repair.
Yeah, I found it. It's on top of the 501. Thanks, Howie. Yeah, so that's exactly what it is, Howie. Great memory. 10,000 for main line valve replacement. That's a savings, though, for a future capital project.
So we have 25,273 beginning estimated balance, 3,000 in revenue from what we talked about, which is the 7% of the consumer charges. Water tap-in fees go into that. 10,000 of capital to save for. Settle in the balance at 18,273.
Hey, we'll talk about that tomorrow, but I have a question that me and Howie can talk about tomorrow.
Okay. And I'm going down here, cemetery perpetual care. We have a percentage of our cemetery lots that do go into the perpetual care. We're estimating at 1,500 for next year. Expenditures, traditionally they put $1,000 in, but we use $500 or $600 for the flowers. I believe that's Memorial Day or 4th of July. Someone can help me. The ending, beginning, when we use those flowers for the perpetual care, that's the only expense that comes out once a year. Anyway.
More than likely, it's probably for Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. So our estimated beginning balance, $148,381. The revenue from the cemetery sales, $1,500. The expenditures is $1,000, and that puts an ending balance of $148,881. Any questions on perpetual care, the cemetery? Okay, street lighting assessments revenue is $95,000. Street light expenditures for the lights and the auditor fees for collecting the assessments, $114,000. We have an estimated beginning balance, $54,883. Revenue at $95,000. Expenditures $114,000. For an ending balance of $35,883. That is for street lighting.
I had a question on this one. If Mr. Kitco or any of you three actually could help me out. And I think I may have mentioned this at the last meeting or just in passing with Mr. Kitco on the street. And I don't know if that's where this would even go, actually. The decorative street lights are on Main Street, the black poles. I know when those get knocked over, they have to recast those and order them. It takes a while. Would there be a way to budget some money for those, to have some of those, bought and on hand, so that when we do have one knocked down, that we're not waiting, months and months or an entire summer, sometimes it feels like, before we can get it replaced? Is that something we can possibly put in there?
I don't know if it can go under this particular fund, since it's an assessment fund. There's probably rules with how the state allows us to do that. But yeah, that I do remember that conversation we had. And I think it was at the last meeting, actually.
Yeah, it was.
I'll go with Howie tomorrow and discuss that about having one or two on reserve, so we don't have to wait for the replacement.
Because it looks real tacky when it sits there with a cone. If we could just buy one or two on stand, or buy one, and then when it goes away, then we know next year to order another or whatever it may be. But
I think Howie said those were about what, 4,000 a piece, Howie?
Yeah, usually the pull and light are about 6 with labor to install.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a horrible amount. If it's doable, I think it would be great to have one or two on hand if possible, at least one to start.
Yeah. We'd have to see what we could take it out of one of our street funds in the 200 levels.
Where would
some of those are even here.
That's what I was gonna say. Where would that
Colleen, it'd be out of the one of the 200, 201. I don't, Colleen, can you scroll back all the way back up to where the streets start at 200, 201? It definitely couldn't, I don't think it could come out of, because the state ORC regulates these things, a certain percentage of funds on certain ones. So, and that's really Colleen and Howie's area of expertise, but we can definitely look and see where we can place it within those funds. And we would have to add that to the capital as well. So what I'll do is council needs to take a formal vote on. Did you guys formally vote on that last one?
No, it was just a conversation.
Okay, awesome. Well, I like the idea. So we'll have to do some amendments to the CIP, but I'll get with Howie about where we can throw some of those. Maybe where I want to put this at. We'll do decorative. And I'm just taking notes. Don't hold up for me.
No, I'm just trying to find my spot. Okay, so any other questions for street lighting?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for reminding us of that.
Thank you.
So this is the fund government center that was, I guess we can talk about it. That might be available to use as a future hold for the money to get into a new building. Maybe talk about it in 2021 and put it in next year's transfers out of the general fund. But this was, this 400 number was one that we set aside when we got Madison Street. So we have a place that general fund can transfer into. And then we can customize the expenditures to save for the capital. I think
Was
that
it-
was,
Yeah, I would say, was that Mr. Vice Mayor or was that?
yes, Mr.
Yeah.
Cook, I believe, your question.
Yeah, that's
Right
fine.
now. Okay,
I don't
Water-
know, looking at what we're gonna have left in the general fund, I don't see that we're gonna possibly be able to put 50,000 in this thing.
I mean, would you
Yeah,
want to put,
we'll watch that because, what we do is we underestimate our revenues and overestimate our expenditures. So when Colleen was going through those ending fund balances in the general fund and you saw that history, yeah, that's what we have budgeted, but I think we'll hopefully end up a little higher than that. Miss Collins is very good at being very conservative, so she's probably telling me to but I think we'll end a little better than what we are projecting.
and thank you, Mr. Bridge, for that comment. The conservative usually works real well. Luckily, it worked for us with COVID because we are conservative with the revenue and we did not have to adjust very much. But we do track it every month when I give you your monthly reports and entertain questions at any time to keep our eye on it.
And another way you guys could look at it too is you can go ahead and throw it in there for a transfer. And Colleen and I can watch the fund balances and not make that transfer to maybe closer to the end of the year. And if it doesn't look like it can support it, Colleen can make the recommendation back to me and I can communicate with council about, hey, do you guys want to go through with this or not? But again, we can talk more about that a little bit later on the 2nd. So have it noted.
what I mean, Mr. Vice Mayor, would you be interested in just putting anything in there? I mean, whether it's 50,000 or even 5 or 6, I mean, something
Anything will be welcome in there because as it stands right now, we're doing a little of nothing toward a possible new building.
Right. So I guess we could, Mr. Bridge or Ms. Harris, we could just kind of take your advice on what you guys would feel comfortable
Sure.
maybe moving into there.
You want to kind of think of a number, but let's put 25,000.
Mr. Vice Mayor, what do you think?
I don't have a problem, but we can use that as a starting point.
Keep an eye on that and see where they come back to us with. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so let me put these in so I don't lose it. So that puts the general fund.
Hey, Colleen, and
Yes, sir.
I think we just leave it blank and discuss that at the next round and then actually take a formal vote on it since majority of council hasn't decided how much they want to do. Not trying to be difficult, just trying to play by the, trying to play.
Oh, no, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Okay.
getting at.
Yeah, so let's just back that back out to 0. And I got it noticed to discuss. It can be any dollar amount, to 25 to 20, whatever council wants to talk about on the 2nd.
Okay, got it. Okay. Let me get back where we left off, and that was, I believe we might be done.
Well, could
Water
we
meter
start over at the
upgrades.
beginning? She didn't hear me.
I didn't hear you. What?
I said, can we just start over at the beginning? I missed a few things.
Oh, mercy. You see this date right here, Mr. Mayor, the September 16th, that's when I started this budget.
Oh, okay.
And this is my revised date. No, it's definitely a work in progress, but it's getting there. We're almost done. And Howie, you said wastewater?
We were at
Mr. Wall.
water meter upgrades and wastewater.
I'm sorry, I'm lost. Who's?
Water meter upgrades. There's a couple funds we haven't finished going over. If you can scroll down to into your fund list, that'd be great. We can work our way back up.
Okay, that will work. There's my ending.
Yeah.
So wastewater capital contingency, we have $8,000 estimated in tap-in fees. And with that capital, it's equipment rehab. And that's in the wastewater capital. Is there any other breakdown?
I'm looking at 562 right now. It is lift station pumps.
Okay, so that'll take our fund balance and our revenue and use for lift station pumps and use up that fund balance. Then the one above, let's see. think my mouse is getting slow. Sorry.
Give it a piece of cheese.
Yeah, that's what it needs, something. I think these are all zeros. I think we have it all. Did I miss anything?
Mr. Roadwall, did you have something?
This one, he wanted the water meter upgrade. I don't think we touched. I think we stopped at the government center, but I could be wrong.
No, you're fine, Mike.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're good.
Yep, I think we're done.
Council, any other questions on this one or this?
Yeah, I'm just glad we don't have the old finance director now.
Yep.
All right.
Colleen, you want to stop? Colleen, can you stop sharing your screen and make me host so we can? I
I
just want to see everyone back on the same screen, and I just want to. Oh, look at that!
Look at that. I'm learning.
Oh, she's
Wow.
getting good.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone wake up now! Like, ugh. No, I'm
Now,
kidding.
wait a minute. I got to get you the control back here.
Yep.
Nope, I got something.
Just hover over my name and then go to more and say make host.
Oops.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's back to me. All right. Hey, council, this is like 2 years in a row. We've had these awesome, fantastic work sessions. So it's not over yet. I know we kind of went through a lot. So that's why I wanted to give everyone the hard copies that you guys got. Continue on reviewing those. And then when we come back on Wednesday at noon, we can pick up with any kind of questions that you have. We're going to do some more work on this tomorrow, I think. Just seeing some stuff that popped out to me today. But again, thank you so much for being awesome during this. But I do want to just go back over and make sure that my notes are correct with what we're going to actually vote on November 2nd. So we have $15,000 for the fireworks. We have $2,000 for the employee appreciation luncheons and dinners. $50,000 or whatever monetary amount savings for the future city building. Increase of non-residential pool fees. And remove $40,000 from community development and put that towards the pool liner to get completely in 2021. And also discuss the $5,000 in roadway repair for the cemetery. And also on the meeting Wednesday at noon, we will go over funds 214, 215, which is our fire funds, and then 212 and 213, which is our EMS funds when our fire chief is present. And we're also going to discuss amongst our staff the decorative street lightings back in the CIP. I did have a council question. So we're going to be working on the police contract here very soon for 2021. And what I would like to do is give council the two options again, how we did it last year. We had a contract for 4 deputies and a contract for 5 deputies. Actually, I'm speaking to ahead of myself. So forget anything I said about the police contract. Sorry about that. And that's all I have for my notes.
All right.
Any questions?
Yeah. Anything, council? All right. Doesn't appear so, sir.
Awesome.
You said you had a comment come in?
No, I don't think I did. Let's we can refresh it here. Nothing.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. Anything else from Ms. Harris, Mr. Kitco, or anybody? No. All right, council.
Adjourn.
Thank you for all the work.
Yes, thank you, everybody. And I had a motion from Mr. Cobb,
Second.
second from Mr. Grimm to adjourn.
All right, Casey, just let us know when we're done with the live stream.
All right. Councilwoman Nowakowski,
Yes.
Councilman Roadwall,
Yes.
Councilman Cobb,
Yes.
Councilman Eggleston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn accepted 7-0.
Hey, Howie, real quick, or
Yep. Just 1 second here, Mike.
yeah.
All righty, we are off the air.